Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Elmer Horn with Douglas County Sheriff's Office, and we're here at one of our communities, and Sheriff Pounds is here with us. And Sheriff Pounds is very involved in his communities, and he come out. We brought out our grill and our smoker so we can come out and help cook for this community. And Sheriff Pounds himself has come out and helped cook with us, and he's here to cook and help these folks today.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the programs that I call taking my community back. If you don't get out there and get involved in your community, you ain't gonna be able to get it back. And the sad part about it, we losing our young men at such a pace that it's unreal. We got to come up with something that will help us with these children. Got to. So this is what I'm doing. I love it. I'm out here in the sun. It's hot, but like I said earlier, we're gonna do these until we get that gap between law enforcement and the community bridge. We're gonna bridge that gap because we're gonna get out of here, we're gonna shake hands, we're gonna find out if they got any kind of problem we can assist them with, and invite them to the sheriff's office and come to the roll call. Just come see what's going on at the office. Thank y'all so much for being here.
Thank you, Sheriff Pounds. And like I said, this is just one of many events that we bring this grill out to help with our communities and get involved. I'm here today at one of our community outreach days with our sound truck. And our sound truck is used for just what you see. We come out to community days, we play loud music, and be able to just have a good time with it and enjoy our community. At a sheriff's office, you get to see us in a little different light. We're not always out there writing tickets or locking people up. We come out to your community day and be a part of your day and help you celebrate your community. And this is just one of the ways that we can do that, was with our sound truck. We're here today in one of our communities. We brought our ice cream truck out. A lot of people like to laugh when I say the sheriff's office owns an ice cream truck, but this is exactly what it's for, is we bring it out to our communities. We give away ice cream. We don't charge for the ice cream. The ice cream is free. And we have partners in our businesses in our community that help pay for the ice cream so that we can give it away for free. And we give it away. We go to schools. This is just one of many events that we bring our ice cream truck to. We go to the school systems. We come out to community days, block parties. We just come out and see you and help you enjoy and celebrate your community. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Dr. Alice Show. I am so glad to be back, and I am so thankful for my viewers and my subscribers who has been so patient. We was not on last month because we had some technical difficulties, but thank be to God, everything is solved. And I want to thank my producer, Mr. Felix Washington, who has worked so hard to keep my show live on air. And I am the host for the Dr. Alice Show, and I'm running for your next president of the United States of America on an independent ticket for the second time around, because I believe that you need a president who will hear you, but most of all, who will fight for you, who will fight for this democracy, who will fight for your family, because it's time that we do something different. It's time that we get somebody that cares about the American people. And I care about the American people. I love this country. And to see what's going on in our country, it has hurt my heart. And so I'm taking the step. I have the tenacity to move forward. I have the strength to move forward. I don't have to ask anybody for any permission to run for president of the United States of America, because I understand that a president should work for the people, because we have both parties fighting with each other. We have Democrats fighting with Republicans. They're fighting among each other. And you know who it hurts? It hurts you, the American people. And so it's time to do something different. I say, if you want something different, let's do something different. Let's vote different in 2024. Vote for Alice Yancey Teague, your independent candidate. I will run this race with your help. I will wake up every morning fighting for you, the American people. Now, I can't promise you a Rolls Royce. I can't promise you $1 million house. But what I can promise you is that I'll wake up every morning with you on my mind, and I will fight for you because I believe it's time for a change. It's time that this craziness between the Democrat parties and both parties come to a necessary ending. And if you want to visit me, please watch me on my YouTube channel and your Roku TV. Also, if you want to be a part of the Yancey Teague campaign, please get on board. We will love to have you. You can visit me on my Facebook page. You can visit me on my website. Just look it up, Dr. Alice Yancey Teague for President 2024, because I want to be your next president. But that's enough for me right now. We'll talk about me a little bit later. Today, we're going to talk about leadership. We have a person that we are going to be honoring. His name is Mr. Greg White. He has proven to be a leader, and he deserved this award. And I am so proud to present to him the Leadership of the Year Award from the Dr. Alice Show. But before we present the plaque to him, I just want to make some few remarks about leadership. Leadership is a group of people about taking risks, challenges, motivation, helping people meet the goal, and the opportunity to always achieve something new and better. Leadership is a combination of skills that anyone can be able to be part of. And what helped me during my time when I was doing leadership and I was doing in my own business, there were 7 essential elements of leadership. And I hope that when Mr. Greg White comes on, he will agree with me. 1, competent. You have to be competent in order to be able to be a leader. 2, credibility. You have to have the credibility to be a leader. Communication. You must be able to communicate. And coaching. You must be able to coach. And then number 5 is compassion. You must have compassion with one another. And number 6 is that you must support your team member. And number 7, you have to adapt to any given situation. And my guest today, Mr. Greg White, he has definitely have met all these qualifications. And it is my pleasure to introduce to those who don't know about Mr. Greg White. But before I introduce him and before I present the plaque, I would like to just say some words about Mr. Greg White. Mr. Greg White is a native of Durham, North Carolina. Mr. White graduated from Tuskegee University in 1983 with a BS in accounting. Then he graduated from Atlanta University in 1985 with a master's degree in business administration. Mr. White has worked with the city of Decatur for nearly 29 years. And let me just say that again. He worked with the city of Decatur for nearly 29 years. That's a long time, you guys. Starting in 1994. His current responsibility is to Park and Recreation Division. He oversees several parks, which include the dog park, the skate park, the athletic and tennis division, and other recreation facilities, including the community garden and special event. He is the key partner with the City School of Decatur, Scott and Colleges, and Decatur Library and Decatur Housing Authority. Mr. White, he shares a staff legion working with the Park and Recreation Board. He is the member of the National Recreation and Park Association, NRPA, and GRPA. He served as the former president of the association in 2021. He is working with the city of Decatur to address the unhoused needs and homelessness. He is the member of the House Unhoused and the CAB. He contributed to the article, Homelessness, How Can I Help You? In the NPRA August issue of 2022. Mr. White has a passion for the unhoused community, and he's always seeking partners and ideas to address the social issue that we have in today's community. Mr. White, he volunteered his time with the Mike Glenn Foundation, which is a basketball camp, working with children who are deaf and hard of hearing. He is a committee member of the Decatur High School Wall of Fame. Mr. Greg has been married, and I commend him, for over 30 years, and his wife is here with him, Janine White, and they have 3 young children, 3 young adults, that is. The family is a member of the Renaissance Church of Christ in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. White's hobby is including photographing, so it's kind of different for him to do photographing now because he's on the other side. Reading, storytelling, and preserving Afro-American history. And so he has met all the requirements that we required for Leadership of the Year award. But before I present this award to him, I want to say to Mr. White, keep on doing what you're doing. No matter who tries to stop you, and even if you're alone by yourself, I have the pleasure to present to you the Leadership of the Award. I want everybody to see this. The Leadership of the Award from the Dr. Alice Show. And what it says, Outstanding Leadership Award to Mr. Greg White in recognition of your hard work, your dedication, and your leadership in the community. The Dr. Alice Show, Atlanta TV, 1061, March the 24th, 2023. God love a humble servant. Mr. Greg White.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Alice. Thank you, Dr. Alice.
You're so welcome.
Appreciate the award. As it says at the bottom, God loves a humble servant, and that's what I try to be every day.
Amen, amen. And you heard it from Mr. Greg White. I am so proud to present him this award of Leadership of the Year. He deserves it. His wife is here in the audience, and I want to send a shout out to his mother-in-law, Mama White. How you doing? I want to send a shout out to you, and God bless you. You have a wonderful family, and I want to thank his wife for being here. We're going to go on break, but before we go on break, there's some things I want to send a shout out to. I want to send a shout out to my minister, Dr. Richard Barclay, and First Lady from the Stonecrest Church of Christ in McDonough, Georgia. I want to send a shout out to my son. He's here in the audience, and my godson. They're both here, and I'm so glad that they're here. And I want to send a shout out to my daughter, Rashonda, my grandkids, who I love so dearly. That's DJ, Savannah, and Mr. Kobe. And so I want to say to you all, thank you for watching the Dr.
You can reach us today for all of your auto, home, life, and small business needs at 678-782-3005 or online at sddinsurance.com and on all social media platforms. We look forward to
Country's Barbecue and Soul Food is now hiring. If you love barbecue, you won't find a better barbecue restaurant than Big Country's Barbecue and Soul Food. Come experience the taste of perfection, the finest quality of barbecue grilled fresh, leaving your taste buds longing for more. The memories of a delicious, well-seasoned, mouth-watering meal will last a lifetime. Visit us today. Big Country's Barbecue and Soul Food is located at 1530 Hudson Ridge Road in Stockbridge. Order now on Grubhub or call 470-781-1236. Big Country's Barbecue and Soul Food is now hiring.
Hi, I'm Chief Gary Sparks with the Douglasville Police Department. Today we want to give you some safety tips concerning traffic stops. Take a look.
So you look in your rear view mirror and see flashing blue lights. What do? Remain calm. Yield to the right and pull your vehicle over into an off-road area that is safe for both you and the officer. Put your car in park. Remove your foot from the brake and turn the radio off. Remain in your vehicle. Have your driver's license readily available for the officer. Keep your hands on the steering wheel, visible for the officer at all times. If you need to retrieve any items from the interior, explain what you're reaching for to the officer and avoid any sudden movements. Rolling the window down completely establishes a level of trust with the officer and allows for ease of interaction during the routine traffic stop. Be courteous and polite. Be cooperative and willing to follow the officer's instructions. During a routine traffic stop, the officer will return to his vehicle to run the tag and driver's license verification and complete a citation if one is necessary. Once the officer returns and approaches your vehicle, whether or not a citation or warning is issued, please remain calm, courteous, and cooperative. Sign the citation acknowledging you agree to appear in court, and do not dispute the citation with the officer. The officer will give you a court date to explain or defend your infraction.
Okay, ma'am. Like I told you, I did clock you at 51 in a 35 mile per hour speed zone. I did issue a citation, okay? This here is going to be your court date. I just need a signature from you stating that you received a copy of this citation, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Here's your driver license.
Thank you.
Along with a copy of the citation, okay? You have any questions or concerns for me?
No, sir.
Okay, well, you have a nice day, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Following these few simple steps will help ensure a safe interaction for both you and the officer.
I hope these few tips help you as it relates to dealing with law enforcement and traffic stops. Not only in traffic stops, but in all encounters with law enforcement. We hope that all our encounters are safe for the citizens as well as for our officers. Again, we want you to be safe, and if you have any problems with the Douglasville Police Department, don't hesitate to give us a call and make your concerns known. I would add that Georgia is a right to carry state, and we hope that if you are carrying, that on these traffic stops and all encounters, please let the officer know that you are carrying. This will ensure your safety and our officers' safety. Thank you, may God bless you, and may God keep our community safe. We are one.
Welcome back. And our special guest again is Mr. Greg White, who we just honored for the Leadership of the Year Award. And I'm going to ask Mr. White to bring his plaque up. I want to display his plaque again, just in case somebody missed his plaque. But we're going to display his plaque again. And this is the Outstanding Award plaque that was given to Mr. Greg White. Thank you, Mr. White, for sharing your plaque. Now, Mr. White, here is the tough part. It's the questions now. Being a leader, you always have to have questions. And so I'm going to start off with some questions that came in while we was on break. And one of the questions is number one, how do you describe yourself as a leader?
I would describe, first of all, good evening, audience. Greg White, just want to say to Dr. Alice, thank you for allowing me to
You're welcome.
be on the show. But I would say, when you think about being a leader, I always think about, first of all, looking at Jesus Christ. So I told somebody, looking at that example to me as a guide, how, one, you take care of people, how you treat people. I told someone, as a leader, it's important to be, always saying, be flexible in the process. I told someone, sometimes people try to be rigid, but I told somebody, if I had to tell you I'm a director, I'm really not a director.
Absolutely,
So
I agree with that
I'm big on people being open, being transparent, don't take information personal. I told somebody, being a leader, I think it's important to listen, and it's important to listen to everybody. I told somebody, from the person might be a manager right beside you to even all the way to a part-time worker. Some of your best ideas can sometimes come from people that's on the front line. So I'm really strong on giving people a voice, and people know that they can come to me with any concern that's trying to address it. But I would just say, being a leader in 2023 is important that you know how to adapt and change gears. You got to stay relevant. You got to stay intentional at all times. I told somebody, if someone give you some feedback, and criticism is good. And I told somebody, if you fail, I told you, fail fast and keep it moving.
That's right. fail fast and keep it moving. I like that. I like that. Number 2 question that came in. As a leader, number 2 question. I'm sorry, you guys. Number 2 question was, as a leader, what good role model would you like to leave behind as your legacy?
As a leader, for me, I would just say, as a legacy for me, is always look for the gaps. Don't be afraid to stand alone. Tell someone, don't be afraid to challenge a system that may be been around for ages. To me, does not mean it's got to be the same system 50 years ago. Does not have to be the same system that's working in present day society. I think it's important sometimes to flip the system upside down. And I told somebody that part of my legacy, I would just say, is one, looking at how to sustain. I hope I could be an example for younger people, how to sustain. When you see something, say something and do something, as opposed to standing on the side. You look at our African-American community, people always talk about our young people. You look at people that are unhoused, but for me, I think it's important to talk to them, to meet them where they are, to let them see that, one, you're a real person. And I tell somebody, relationship building is really key to me. So I would tell anyone, one of the legacies is be a relationship builder regardless of it. May be uncomfortable, and it's good to be uncomfortable.
It is. And I totally agree. And one of the things that he said is be uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to be uncomfortable in order for a situation to work out for the good. So I totally agree with you with that. Number 4 question that came in. As a leader in the community, what encouraged word would you give to someone who's watching us right now that wants to be a leader in the community?
I would say, first of all, I would just give this example of, fortunately, I'm thankful, first of all, for my wife, Janice White, and I'm thankful for my family. I would just say, for me, always start with people that are right next to you. You can learn a lot. I told somebody, you can learn a lot. You know, you being a leader in your household. I told someone, some days you're the primary leader, sometimes you're the secondary leader. And I would just say, for young people, learn the leaders who are in your family. A lot of times we look outside, and I love Dr. King, and you see I got this Harriet Tubman shirt on, but I always tell some people it's important to be connected to your leaders in your family, and then you understand your purpose and why you stand and you walk a certain way. So that would be important for me as far as young people to say, you know what, I need to know who was the leader in my family.
Okay.
Was that grandma? Was that my brother? You do have brothers and sisters. You can turn to them as role models. And you all can bounce ideas off one another. If you have a spouse, you can have a spouse and say, no, that may not work. You may need to look at it a different way. And that's how you learn. So, but my legacy would be just to think about, I look at all the unhoused situation in America, around the world, would be, for one, to me, I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of people talking about it, and we see it. It's an equity issue in this country.
It is.
I think that we need to be in the trenches, and one of my goals as an African American, you start looking at the plight, and I see all the people that are out there, they look like me, and I think they need to realize there's some hope, someone that looks like them, is concerned and passionate about. You look at the weather, today is 80 degrees, but last weekend it was 29 degrees.
It was.
And I'm thankful for, have some guests in the audience, that my sandwich makers, people that make sandwiches, including my wife and Betty and Delia. But I have so many partners. I tell people, having partners and volunteers, how we can make this movement.
Absolutely.
Not waiting on anybody. Every night last week it's cold. I'm out there in the cold right there with my people. So that would be one of my legacies. How do we, you look at all the money that's in this country, how do we make sure people are being housed and fed properly?
And you are absolutely right, because that is one of my pet peeves, is homelessness as well. And I would love to work with you, feeding the homeless, because a lot of people don't know. I myself was homeless, so I know what it feels like to be out there. And that's one of the things that I am campaigning on, is that I want to make every abandoned building where it can be accessible to have housing. Also, I want to build tiny houses, because if we can spend billions of dollars, now don't get me wrong, to help another country, America should come first, and I believe that. And we should be able to help people get off the streets if they want to get off, and then be able to give them skills. So I totally agree with you with that. The other question that came in was, what important leadership skills do you think is important, and why do you think it's important?
Well, to me, the number one is listening. I think that's so important. I told somebody, as a leader, you got to have the mindset of take care of your people. I said, take care of your people. I told somebody, you're only as good as the people that you have around you. I tell somebody as a leader, it's important for me, hire people that's smarter than you. Don't be intimidated by that. I told somebody a lot of times, we don't have an ego in it. You can hire people that know
Absolutely.
a lot more than you know.
Absolutely.
And then everybody wins. So that would be one of my tips. But I told somebody, when you listen, you can see people can show you ideas or show you ways to better market what you do. Don't be afraid to let people into your space. I tell somebody, when you let people in your space, you'll be surprised how people can connect you. And it's important to have, as I tell somebody, when you're leading relationships. I work for the city of Decatur. I've been there 29 years. But one of my strengths is being able to talk to every department in the city.
Yeah.
I told somebody I can talk to from the secretaries all the way to the chiefs, all the way to our city manager, to elected officials. That's an important piece to me. And just as I saw someone doing this unhoused work just before I got on the air, they call over, they want to know where you located. They're like, you on a TV show tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'm on a TV show.
Yeah.
I'll be back in Decatur a little bit later. But
Right.
I think that's important when you think about leadership skills. And I've told some young people the other day, it's important to talk to everybody regardless of what color, what background. That's so important because you learn people's story. You be like, I understand where people come, or you begin to say, you see somebody now, you really don't know their story.
Absolutely.
And I would just say, right now we're doing this piece at Renaissance, the whole providence of God. And to me, God has shown us a lot of love.
Absolutely.
And we're a vessel. I told somebody, we're a vessel. A lot of times we're in jobs, but I told somebody, to me, when you come on a job, you need to be a beacon of light.
And that is true. And I know that I saw that in your article in August, that what you just said was true. And I appreciate that. And we have to be a symbol so people can understand, because we don't know people's story. I just told you all I was homeless, so I understand what that feels like. And so we cannot judge people. We should be able to help people. So I certainly agree with you by saying that. Right now we're going to flash some pictures of Mr. White and his family. And if we can flash number 1 so that the viewers can see it. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. And number 7. And number 8. That's Mr. Greg White and his lovely wife. And now, Mr. Greg White, I have a couple of more questions.
Sure.
A wise person once told me, when I first started my journey in my business and my leadership, that a good leadership behavior is to be able to advise and support team members, then get out the way. I didn't know what that meant at first. So what do you feel, and what do you think about getting out of the way? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I would say one of the biggest pieces getting out of the way is not being a micromanager. You got to trust your person who you've given that task to. Get out their way. They might not do it the way you may do
Absolutely.
it.
And I had to learn that the hard way, because I'm so used to being in charge and stuff like that. And I had to understand, I had to go back to these principles, what a good leader was. And so I understand now what it means to get out the way. And trust me, I get out the way.
Yeah, it's important to get out the way. I tell someone that way people know they got some creativity, they know they got some freedom.
Absolutely.
You can be the support side of it, but I tell somebody, get out of the way and let them run. Let them go. Let them go. And I tell somebody, perfect example of that. Sarah Holmes and our team, we had never done a recreation master plan. We did an athletic master plan in 2001. But Sarah was like, I really think we need a recreation master plan. And we just got our recreation master plan. She was a project lead on it. City's recreation master plan was adopted the other night for $150 million over the next 10 years. So Don't know if the city will spend that right away, but we're going to do what we can. But I told somebody else, letting a person have the freedom to move and ask questions and to put us in a better position.
All right. We got to go on break. But before we go on break, I want to let everybody know on June the 17th, the Dr. Ellis Show will help be sponsoring a concert at the lake. We're asking you all to come on out. You don't want to miss this concert. We have sponsors as far as public is concerned. We have sponsors, Red Lobsters, Panera Bread. We have Long John, Outback. We have Starburst. And we have plenty more sponsors that have came forward to help us put together the concert on June the 17th. Tickets will go on sale on April the 3rd. And I'll tell you more about that in a few minutes. We have to go on break, but we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Lauren, and welcome to TV 1061. Join our network and broadcast your film live across the continent. Come to our studio and film and stream your TV show, sitcom, and showcase and broadcast it worldwide. Combine multimedia with your live stream. Independent filmmakers show your movie and afterwards interview your cast live. Sponsors, advertisers, I'm talking to you. This is your chance for global exposure. These are exciting times that we're in. Traditional TV is but a thing of the past. TV 1061 is on the Roku platform. Roku is an industry leader in internet TV. It has a viewership of 53 million and counting. It is the most popular and fastest growing internet TV platform. If you are interested in developing and showcasing your movie or show, or interested in coming in as a sponsor or advertiser, please send us your contact information with a brief description of your interest to 1061tv@gmail.com. Thank you. Hi.
Today's world exposes our youth to life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom Inc. Reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives. Today's world exposes
Welcome back, and our guest again is Greg White. Before we went on break, I just need to correct, I believe it was Starbucks. They will be sponsoring with the Dr. Ellis Show on June the 17th at the Brooks Lake in Conyers. And then we will have the Recreation Band from the Metro Atlanta, one of the baddest bands in Atlanta. And then we will have the lead singer, Mr. Motown, for the from the sensational sounds of melody, Motown. And then Vernon Cooper from the Emojo Band, and Mr. Dennis Dazzler doing a Prince tribute. And that again is the Sensational Band, Mr. Motown from the Sensational Band of Motown. And I'll talk a little bit more about that on June the 7th. Tickets will go on sale on April the 3rd. You can call 404-418-4125. And we're going to display the family pictures of Mr. White again because I went a little bit too fast, so a lot of you probably didn't see them. So we're going to replay those pictures. And I want to put up picture number 1 at this time. Picture number 2, Picture number 3. Picture number 4. Picture number 5. Picture number 6. Picture number 7. And the last picture, number 8. And before we end this segment, we will show the last part of these pictures again for our nominee, Mr. Greg White, who has been presented the Leadership of the Award plaque from the Dr. Alice Show. Now, Mr. Greg, I have 2 more other questions, and I know that we're going to talk about the park and recreation. You want to share that with us. But I want to share the golden rule of leadership, and let me know if you agree to that.
Okay.
Leaders understand that leading others is a privilege that is earned, not a right. Leaders who understand this concept understand that the privilege of leading, you must be a humble servant yourself in order to lead. And it's all about serving. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I've told somebody, as a leader, you might have, it's not about a title. I told someone, when you're leading people looking at you, they're depending on you. So I told someone, that's why to me it's important to me to have like that open door policy. I told somebody, as you lead or as you matriculate through in any career, I told somebody you got to stay humble. I told somebody you always got to keep yourself in position where you're able to go. If you're like tomorrow, I'm the logistics guy. I might be the department head, but I'm moving tables, I'm moving chairs, I'm moving tables and tents tomorrow. And I think it's important, and that's why I was telling somebody, having your feet on the ground. I told somebody, not trying to say do the work, but at the same time, it's important. And when I told somebody, when we try to train our people, they're quick to know that I'm gonna jump in there, we clean bathrooms, we pick up trash. But I think that's important to be humble as you move in any type leadership role. And I tell somebody, taking it to your household, being humble around your wife, you're humble with your kids, you're taking care of an elderly person, it's really an honor to be able to take care of someone. So I told somebody, sometimes you may think it's a burden, but you look at it, it's really an honor to be able to serve and help someone. Yep.
Amen. I agree with that. And then the last question, Dr. Cloud, he wrote a book on necessary ending. And one of the things in his books he said, and I want to know if you agree or if you disagree. He said leaders are born and not made. Do you agree with that theory?
I look at it this, I would say my philosophy is, I think you've been gifted. God give you some gifts. I think it's to understand and identifying those gifts as leaders. Tell somebody, not to say someone has been born to be a leader, but I've seen in my line of work of just seeing people all of a sudden just being around people that's a good example. I've seen someone say, I don't think I can do that, but all of a sudden, God has given them all the ability that some heard someone say, I can't public speak, or I can't lead a department. Next thing I know someone now presenting all across the country. So I think to me it's being in the right setting and given opportunities to lead. And then I think there's opportunity for someone to lead, but I think it's important, going back to that statement, but I do think you got to understand sometimes as a leader, you're going to be out front as a leader, sometimes in the middle, and sometimes as a leader, you're in the background. So I think you got to understand that perspective. You can't always be out front. You got to be able to trust, and someone else is out front, to me, support that person, as opposed to like the same, well, why is he or she out front? To me, we got to be encouraging and supporting people. Okay.
Now, I know that you have volunteered the basketball camp. Can you tell us a little bit about the basketball camp, especially working with deaf and people that can't hear?
Well, I've had the privilege, like I said, I've worked in Decatur for 29 years and being a basketball fan. I told somebody I grew up hearing about Mike Glenn way in Durham, North Carolina. My dad told me about how great a player he was. Some of y'all may know Walt Clyde Frazier, who played for the Knicks. Walt Clyde Frazier played at the same university where Mike Glenn, Southern Illinois. So hearing about that, never think that person become one of your best friends. That's what I want to tell people that's listening about being one, read, and one, think about connecting with people. So for me, they had the camp at our facility at Decatur Rec Center. All of a sudden I saw all the moving pieces and people, all the deaf students and coaches coming from all across the country. At one point, they were staying at a church in Decatur. And never forget, I saw Mike Glenn one day out front, and he was like, man, I really don't know what I'm going to do. I was like, what are you thinking? He said, I don't have anywhere for the players to stay. So I want to commend, went as a leader. And here we go, leadership skill, how you problem solve as a leader. I was a Claremont Presbyterian church that was involved. They had housing there. It was a church in Decatur, but at that point, they said we can no longer let them stay. So then I went to Hillcrest Church of Christ and said, hey, we got opportunity. We're going to be a church in the community. Here it is. So we actually able to house the boys over at Hillcrest for many years. And then I just saw what's involved in that and thought about each night they had to feed the kids. So then my role was to talk to Chick-fil-A. So Chick-fil-A was a big sponsor of the camp. Chick-fil-A provide all the meals on Monday. They went back to Chick-fil-A on another day. They said, we want to be a part of it from that perspective. And my bigger piece was taking all the pictures, connecting the camp to the newspaper. I just thought it was a worthy story that needs to be told by a former NBA player. His father was coach at the Georgia School for the Deaf. As Mike Glenn said, his example was a young lady who was signing. He didn't really understand, but Mike is really fluent with sign language. I'm not as fluent as I probably should be, but I can communicate a little bit with deaf. A lot of love there. To somebody with the pandemic, we hadn't had the camp. The camp normally was Father's Day weekend, so the camp will be back. But now, with the pandemic, it used to be a day and night camp overnight, but right now it's strictly a day camp. But just the wealth of seeing all the former athletes and people in the community support the camp is wonderful. So that's been my connection.
Okay. So working with the deaf, it has been a rewarding thing for you, correct?
It's been rewarding. It's a tough week because I work all day. Then I do the camp at night.
Okay,
so
then you do the camp at night. Now, do you know any sign language at all? If so, can you give us something or say something in sign language or do something in sign language?
I can give someone like this is thank you.
Okay. Okay, so this means thank you. All right, so can you tell the audience thank you? Okay, well, thank you. I like that. I thank you. Now, I see that you have a book on park and recreation. Want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I just want to tell someone when you follow your passion, and I think you said it earlier, stay with your passion, regardless what other people may say. People may be negative about it, or people may not have the same opinion, but when you know you're doing something right, follow your dream. And this is our Parks and Rec national magazine. Every Parks and Rec professional gets this magazine. This magazine was the August issue, and it had an article that I contributed about is homelessness in parks and recreation problem, which it is. We have people, tent cities in parks, we have people sleeping in parks, we got trash in parks, we got all kind of behavior of unhoused people. People leave their carts, people leave all their belongings, and as a park director or park staff, you got to clean it. So it is a national problem, it's a global problem, but I contributed to an article. And the last little piece I just want to share with people, I talked about Mike Glenn, and this is for you Steeler fans. I'm a football, just a sports fan. Steeler fans, y'all might see, this is a picture of Franco Harris. A lot of y'all know we lost Franco back in December. But number 22 is a good friend of mine, Clarence Scott. He was an All-Pro from Decatur. And I tell somebody, just never know, just the fun part of relationships. Phone call back in 1995. He said, this is Clarence Scott. I want to talk to you all about, I normally have a little Turkey Day event for all the people in my community. And I said, let me stop you a minute. This is Clarence Scott for the Cleveland Browns. He said, yeah, this is Clarence Scott for the Cleveland Browns. And they have an annual event where all the people who grew up with him in Decatur, they come back and play Turkey Day, a little flag football game. And then everybody goes celebrate and have some turkey. But just to show you the relationship, he's been inducted to Kansas State Hall of Fame. He's in the Cleveland Brown Hall of Fame. And all the time, Clarence, like, I know you're a keeper of history, so all of a sudden he's bringing me all these pictures We can display these pictures throughout the recreation centers, but this is a picture of Clarence Scott going to tackle Franco Harris. And for y'all who know football, that was not an easy feat. But he said, I said, you missed the tackle? He said, no, I took him down.
You took him down. Oh, that's good. And I did read your article, and I think it was very impressive. Can you, okay, I did read your article, and I thought it was very impressive. Right now, can you just read some of the stuff you wrote in your article, if you don't mind, to share with the viewers?
I could share. A lot of people think unhoused is new. I told somebody more than anything has been exposed. So I've been involved with the work since I've been in Decatur. Told somebody I grew up in Durham, North Carolina. I remember seeing, one person in Durham that was kind of walking around all the time, not thinking, man, maybe, you're young, you're like, well, is this person homeless? Is this person maybe alcoholic or mental illness? And as a young person, a lot of people used to make fun, but I never made fun of this person. I'm like, maybe how do we help the person? So I always had that mindset. And as my sister Sharon White said, Mom, who ran the library system, said, Mom, they were letting unhoused people come to the library way in the 1970s in Durham, North Carolina. I was like, maybe that's how I got all this passion. And then we think about my grandfather in Belzon, Mississippi. He was all about taking care of people. And then my dad was a doctor in Durham. He was all about taking care of people who couldn't afford medical assistance. So in the article, I tell anybody, for me, is one, I talked about relationships. I talked about at one point in our community, we were doing showers for individuals. I talked about how staff needs some training around unhoused work. You got to have some tolerance for people. To someone, for us, just thinking about, just show the beauty of this. In the article, I talked about how unhoused people, and that's why I said, listen to everybody. An unhoused person called me one day and told me about a family that was getting ready to be put out, and they was like, you need to call Mr. White. So I found out about this family, and we were able to keep the family in the hotel as opposed to being put on the street. But I would just say the beauty of doing this work, just the most powerful story that we recently had was we had a woman center open back in February. Young man was getting ready to get on the woman center van, getting ready to go there, and all of a sudden in the backpack, a real rabbit pops up. I'm like, a rabbit? What's this rabbit? I'm like, I had a rabbit, so I'm into rabbits and snakes. We have two snakes at our house. But I was like, you can't take the rabbit to the woman center, and I was like, let me take the rabbit. I took the rabbit. My wife says, take the rabbit back. Me and the rabbit go to Walmart. We bought the rabbit a new cage. Next day, gave the rabbit back to the gentleman. His wife and the children went to a shelter, but he stayed out in the cold because he didn't have anywhere for the rabbit to go. So the rabbit was on Marta, the rabbit was in the library, rabbits in our garden. And then our son said, do a little research, and I found the Georgia House Rabbit Society, connected with Jennifer McGee. And just kind of tell y'all, the God sent us a rabbit for a reason. And the rabbit has been, let me tell you what happened. They went from unhoused. Jennifer McGee and the Georgia House Rabbit Society has raised over $75,000 for this family. And this family now has gone from being unhoused to now they actually signed a lease on the house. And now they understand the wife's got a job, the court's looking for a job, and they have adequate transportation.
And see, your good works don't go undone. We have to go on break. We'll be right back.
That's my story, Alan.
I like that story.
My name is Lauren, and welcome to TV 1061. Join our network and broadcast your film live across the continent. Come to our studio and film and stream your TV show, sitcom, and showcase and broadcast it worldwide. Combine multimedia with your live stream. Independent filmmakers show your movie and afterwards interview your cast live. Sponsors, advertisers, I'm talking to you. This is your chance for global exposure. These are exciting times that we're in. Traditional TV is but a thing of the past. TV 1061 is on the Roku platform. Roku is an industry leader in internet TV. It has a viewership of 53 million and counting. It is the most popular and fastest growing internet TV platform. If you are interested in developing and showcasing your movie or show, or interested in coming in as a sponsor or advertiser, please send us your contact information with a brief description of your interest to 1061tv@gmail.com. Thank you. Hi, My name is Lauren, and welcome to TV 1061.
To life experiences that are well beyond that which their years should allow. Violence, trauma, poverty, injustice. Our children's lives and their livelihoods are in constant danger. Wisdom, Inc. is a community-based organization designed to save young lives by reducing violence and assisting youth in their personal development. Wisdom stands for wise individuals structuring and developing youthful minds. Through our collective wisdom, we can change lives for the better. Wisdom, Inc. Reducing violence, developing youth, saving lives.
Welcome back, and our guest again is Mr. Greg White. We're going to end this segment shortly because I do have to bring another guest on, Mr. Ronald Portell. He's going to talk about Legal Shield. But before I end this segment with Mr. Greg White, I want to again let everybody know about the June 17th concert at Brooks Lake. You don't want to miss this concert. We have one of the baddest bands out of Atlanta, the Reaction Band out of Metro Atlanta, and they will be featuring Mr. Motown from the Sensational Sounds of Motown. He's one of the lead singers there. And then we will have Mr. Vernon Cooper. He's from the Emojo Band out of Atlanta. And then there's going to be a special tribute to Prince by Mr. Dennis Dazzle. If you want to see Mr. episode with Purple Rain, he does a fantastic job. So come on out on June the 17th. Tickets will go on sale starting April the 3rd. You can call 404-418-4125 in regards of tickets. And now we're going to turn it back to Mr. Greg White. Now, the last part of this segment, Mr. Greg White, again, we want to hold up his award. If you can give me your award again, we would like to hold it up. And again, the Outstanding Leadership Award presented to Mr. Greg White in recognition of his hard work, his dedication, and his leadership in the community. Given by the Dr. Alice Show, Atlanta TV 1061 on March 24th, 2023. God love a humble servant, and I'm so proud to present this plaque to Mr. Greg White again. And there you go.
Thank
and
you.
then we're going to flash his pictures again. Let's just flash a couple of pictures. Picture number 1. Picture number 5. And then the last one we're going to flash again is with him and his wife. Picture number 8. And again, it has been my pleasure to present to you the Leadership of the War plaque from the Dr. Alice Show, Mr. Greg White. Let's give him a round of applause, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're so welcome. All right, we're going to join, you can stay right there, Mr. Greg White. We're going to join Mr. Ronald Portell. It's going to come up. He's going to talk about Legal Shield. For those of you who don't know Legal Shield or don't have Legal Shield, he's going to come up and talk about Legal Shield for a few minutes. And I'm going to give him the mic. He can come on up. Mr. Ronald Portell.
Good evening. How is everybody?
Doing well.
All right, all right. My name is Ron Pertab. I'm originally from New York. Came from an insurance, real estate background. As I said, my name is Ron Pertab. I believe that the legal justice system in this country is not black and white. It's green. So what I do, I empower, educate. Start over? Yeah. Good evening, family. My name is Ron Pertab. I from New York. I came from an insurance real estate background. And I got involved in the Legal Shield because it make me empower, educate, enlighten, enrich people to have access to the legal justice system. It's easier to be rich and guilty than innocent and poor. So what I do, when you become a member for the legal services, we are over 50 years in existence with over 7,000 attorneys all over United States and Canada. And when you become a member for Legal Shield, we give you a will, a living will, and a power of attorney. But the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Therefore, it's important, it's relevant in this society. We're going to write the letters and make phone calls on your behalf. A letter from a lawyer carries more weight. See, the big print give it, and the fine print take it away. So it's important to know your rights in this country. And also, if you get a speeding ticket, we don't fix the tickets, but they will go to court and represent you. No points on your license, no insurance going up. A good lawyer knows the law, but a great attorney knows the judge. So it's important to understand your rights. Also, identity theft is the #1 white-collar crime in America. And therefore, we look at your social, your drivers, your medical, your character, your child's identity. We all have a situation there where a landlord enter your apartment without your permission. You need to call your lawyer. But what I do, there's an app. And on your phone, there is an app. And the app says, call my attorney anytime. We also give you a card when you become a member. The membership is a husband, wife, and all the kids up to age 26. Any child that is physically, mentally challenged is also covered. But the card says, if it's your intention to question, detain, or arrest me, please allow me to call my attorney. That is powerful. But I need to let people know that in this community, in this time, and I'm also privileged and an honor to work along with the Honorable Dr. Alice, who is running for the President of the United States. And my goal, my purpose, is to help her. But what we need to do is let everybody understand, if you don't know your rights in this country, you basically have none. So I'm proud to be part of this missionary, this crusade to empower more people. Every Monday at 7:30 p.m., I do a live presentation at the Ameri Inn, Stonecrest Mall. And you can come on down. We give you more information. My name is Ron Pertab. My telephone number is 570-801-3201. And it's always a privilege to speak on behalf of the legal environment that's changing rapidly. And over to you, Madam President of United States of America.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ron Patel, for that information on Legal Shield. And if you want some more information, by the end of the day, you can contact me and we'll be able to give you that information. You can contact me at 404-903-7894. And again, before we leave, I want to make sure that you understand about who will fight for you. My name, again, is Dr. Alice Yancey Teague, and I am running for your next President of the United States of America for 2024 because I believe you need a president who will hear you, but most of all, who will fight for the American people. And I want to say thank you for watching this show. Thank you. Subscribe it, like it, share it. And next month, you don't want to miss my show. We will actually have the dating game here on the Dr. Alice Show. Remember, June the 17th, there will be a concert at the lake, at Brooks Lake. Tickets will go on sale on April the 3rd. Call 404-418-4125. You don't want to miss this outstanding band, the Reaction Band out of Metro Atlanta, and they will be featuring the lead singer of the sensational Sounds of Motown, Mr. Motown himself. And then there's going to be a special tribute to Prince from Mr. Dennis Dazer. Like I said, you want to see him because he tears up Purple Rain. And then we'll have Mr. Vernon Cooper from the Emotional Band. you don't want to miss this event, June the 17th at the Brooks Lake in Conyers. Again, tickets will go on sale on April the 3rd. Call 404-418-4125. And again, thank you for watching the Dr. Alice Show. I love you, America, and I want to be your next president. I'll see you on the next time.